everyone, welcome back to my video blog. Today we're going to try to simplify Azure Ingestion services and look at what 3 questions you should be asking yourself when you're evaluating what the right solution is for you. So when we follow the reference architecture provided by Microsoft on how to ingest data from outside services. So for instance, some kind of messaging data or possibly some kind of small file from a queuing system or something like that. Really we're looking at 3 main options, and there are others, but these are probably the best ones to start with, being Apache Kafka on HDInsight, Azure Event Hubs, or Azure IoT Hub. So when you're evaluating these 3 products, the first question you need to ask yourself is if you are looking for a managed or an unmanaged solution. Okay, so remember, Apache Kafka on HDInsight is a quasi platform as a service offering, right? So there is the ability to spin up a cluster, and it's going to have the environment pre-configured for you. It's one of the HDInsight options to choose Kafka as your cluster type. And essentially you have the ability to pick that cluster type and then say that, I want the ability to use Kafka as my main service. Okay, now there is some configuration that needs to take place on those clusters. You need to know Linux because they're Linux-based clusters. You need to understand that it's all open source software and things like that. So these are all considerations that have to be made. If you're comfortable with that, then there's a lot of capability there, right? So you can certainly use it on-prem or in the cloud. There are fewer limitations around your sizing. It's definitely a very mature product, and there are a lot of options around it. So if you're okay with the unmanaged solution, then the Kafka would be good. If you're looking for more of a managed solution, Event Hubs or IoT Hub are the way you're going to want to go. And so we'll get into further details about those as we move along. So the next question you have to ask yourself is around the protocol that you need to use, right? So for instance, Kafka and HDInsight can handle only HTTP and REST requests, whereas Event Hubs can handle AMQP as well as HTTPS and REST. And also IoT Hub can handle MQTT and its own Azure IoT gateway protocol for custom protocols if you want to build your own. IoT Hub is going to give you more flexibility than the other 2, but it's also going to cost you more because of some of the other capabilities. So both Event Hubs and IoT Hub have a limit of a single message size of 256 kilobytes, as opposed to a Kafka, which has no limits, right? Because again, you're working in that unmanaged clustered environment in a Linux cluster. And so there are less limitations around the size. Now, the third question that you're going to ask yourself is whether you need some kind of device integration or native integration with other Azure services, okay? So when we look at the device integration, are you using IoT devices, right? That's a very simple yes or no. If you're using IoT devices, Raspberry Pis or anything in Azure Sphere, those types of devices that we're supporting, then IoT Hub is the no-brainer answer. You get sort of 2-way communication. You can scale to billions of devices. You get secure protocols that go along with it. So that's kind of a no-brainer, very straightforward answer. If you're not managing devices, then you kind of have to determine whether Event Hubs or Kafka would be the right way to go. Now, the next eliminator in that tree, if you will, is whether or not you need native support for other solutions within Azure. So comparing Kafka and Event Hubs, we've said, okay, we don't need to do device support. So we just need to worry about, what the next layer is going to be. What's that next step in our ingestion? In the case of Kafka, in order to interface with some of the other services, say blob storage or something like Stream Analytics or something like that, you're going to need to do some custom integration. You're going to have to create some code to be able to create those connections to those other services. Whereas with Event Hubs, you have native support for Stream Analytics, you have native support for blob storage, and it's actually part of the configuration of the product itself. You can determine where the data is being sent to as a result. So hopefully this helps simplify a little bit the confusion around what the right service is for your situation. And hopefully you found this helpful. If you have any questions, send them in the comments below. Appreciate if you share and like these videos. And otherwise, thanks for listening and have a great day.